reaching listeners in 100 countries. Wow. That's a pretty cool one. Did not know that.
100 countries?
That's what the badge says, yeah. Congrats on
Wow.
reaching listeners in 100 countries.
I didn't
If
know
you say
Karen.
so.
I didn't know Karen traveled that much.
Oh.
Welcome to the Greatest Lists podcast, a show about music and lists. This season, your hosts Jason and Eric are counting down the top 25 guitar solos of the 80s and the top 25 guitar solos of the 90s. Think your favorite made the list? Tune in and find out. Take it away, boys.
Welcome to Greatest Lists, a music and talk podcast featuring lists of the greatest songs of all time. I am Eric, your host for this episode. I'm playing Lone Ranger to my Tonto as my co-host Jason. What's going on?
Oh, I get to be a Lone Ranger. Yeah. Well, I guess of your heritage, that would
I
fit,
am an
right?
Indian here, so come
Yes.
on. We are continuing our season 2 list of our favorite guitar solos of all time. And we are currently making our way to the top 25 guitar solos of the 80s.
Yes.
And this week, we're talking about Nothing You Can Do About It from Richard Marx.
Behind the music.
So the guitarist on this track is Steve Lukather. And if this
I
combo,
suspected.
if this combo seems familiar,
Uh-huh.
they came in at number 20 on our 90s list with a song called Playing with Fire. So this song is from Marx's sophomore album, Repeat Offender. That album was his most successful to date, going quadruple platinum here in the States, double platinum in 2 other countries, and gold in 6 other countries.
Wow.
The first 2 singles, Satisfied and the platinum selling Right Here Waiting, both reached number 1, completing a string of 3 consecutive number 1 singles. When the third single from Repeat Offender, Angelia, climbed to number 4, Marx became the first solo artist to reach the top 5 with his first 7 singles.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Today's track was the 4th single from Repeat Offender, and it climbed to number 12 on the Billboard Rock chart. He's been a longtime friend of Steve Lukather and the Toto guys. Marx, whose first wife, Cynthia Rhodes, starred in the music video for Toto's Rosanna and has collaborated with them on numerous projects in the late 80s, early 90s. Marx co-wrote and sang background vocals on the track Swear Your Love from Steve Lukather's first solo album. And in return, Lukather laid down the guitar tracks on this song.
Let's get personal.
So Richard Marx is one of my all-time favorite songwriters. I have his first 3 albums on a playlist, and I listen to it on just like a regular basis. But this album, Repeat Offender, is by far my favorite. And this song in particular is my favorite track from that album. It's the opening track on the album. I love the lyrics and I love his attitude when he sings it. You can tell he's got a bit of an attitude. But the solo has always been one of my favorites. I think I mentioned in the episode that these guys were in our 90s list. I had Steve Lukather's Starlicks VHS tape in the 80s. And even though I couldn't play anything he was showing you on there, I was already a huge fan of Lukather, and it just added to my love. I'm a huge fanboy of Richard Marx, and so that just added more fuel to the fire when it came to Richard Marx.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just now realized that you picked the opening tracks on both of those albums.
Yeah,
Because Playing with Fire is the opening track on Rush Street. But yeah, it's been a while since I heard this one. I remember Mom having this tape, and I do remember borrowing it. But yeah, it's weird. Like, Richard Marx is just not an artist I've gone back to listen to
really
much over the years. I mean, the track from Rush Street, Playing with Fire, I think hit me more because I do remember playing that album in my car. And this one, I don't know. Maybe it was because of the radio hits or something. I just didn't play much. So he's become more of a radio artist for me now. And
wow.
It's not that I don't like his music. It's just I don't know. I just haven't gone back, and he hasn't been one of those artists that I've listened to over the years. And Toto's the same way. Like I know all their singles, but to go back and listen to a Toto album too, I probably should. It needs to be on my 100 albums in 100 days. I need to put a couple Toto ones on there.
I've said that several times as I've been doing that album countdown. That there's a lot of artists that I know a lot of songs from, but I've never listened to their albums.
Right.
Yeah.
And that wasn't me committing to 100 albums in 100 days. You're nuts. You're totally nuts. But I might do like 10 and 10 or something.
The breakdown.
So I used to know the solo pretty well, as far as being able to play it. So this morning I pulled my guitar down off the wall and sat down and tried to play it again just to see how much I remembered or how much I could really know how to play. And it's a lot harder than I remember. Also, I'm a little out of practice, so that kind of contributed to the to not being able to pull it off. But I could not pull it off like I used to.
Yeah.
But one of the things I like about Lukather is when he does his note bending. He does a lot of note bending, but not just the normal half or full step. He bends his notes way up. I mean, like 2 steps, and they're big and they're slinky. And by slinky, I mean he has a very wide vibrato when he bends up a note and makes it sing. It's very wide. I love how he does that. I've always tried to emulate that on him or from him, and I love the way he incorporates his whammy bar. Not like crazy, but he'll hold it in his hand while he's playing, and you can hear it kind of vibrato a little bit while he's playing, and it kind of instead of just straight playing, you can hear him holding that whammy bar, and it's making the notes, for lack of a better word, wiggle while he's playing his licks. But I've always thought it's just a tasty solo. Much like the one from Playing with Fire. This one's not as incendiary as that one, but it's very tasty, and it's got a lot of fun little licks. So let me back up. If just to put it in perspective, if I can play the solo, it probably isn't that technical. Let me put it that way. If I can play it, it's not extremely technical. But he puts a lot of tasty licks in there that make it sound more technical than it really is. So,
Gotcha.
I love that kind of stuff. Not just from him, but from everybody. But especially this one. So,
well, I could tell just from listening. Like I wrote down in my notes. I'm guessing Lukather again. The style is there.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, I mean, aside from, I really can't add much to what you already said about the solo, but I really think it works well, kind of like the previous song, Easy Lover. It works really well with that bass groove and that ride cymbal underneath.
Yeah.
Just him playing over top of that, it just kind of lays that foundation, just let him do his thing. And there's great work at the end of the song too. I mean, that whole kind of outro, he's playing some tasty stuff as well. But I also like, just by listening to the whole song, I also liked hearing the piano during the chorus. Like you can really hear him hitting on the piano.
Yes.
And that's, what I like about Richard Marx as well. He incorporates a lot of instruments in there, whether it's himself or...
That's because he can play a lot of instruments.
Right. But he surrounds himself with a lot of talent as well. Yeah. So
yeah,
you can really, the instruments and his albums really, and his singles, you can hear it too, are just so well produced, and you can hear everything if you really focus on it.
Yeah. And I remember like the times I've seen him in concert with a full band. He has a full band. I mean, there's a keyboard player and an organ player and
two guitars
and a bass player and a sax player. It's a full band.
Yeah. That was that way when I saw him in like 90, whenever it was, 93 or 94 with the Rush Street album. Yeah.
Yep. So Nothing You Can Do About It comes in at number 21 on our countdown. And I have, as bonus songs, some other Steve Lukather solos.
Mm-hmm.
So for starters, it's another song from Richard Marx's Rush Street album. It's another song on there called Streets of Pain that Lukather plays a solo on. That's that's the same album as our last countdown. And then one that should probably have been on our list.
Yeah, now that I see your bonus songs here, I was thinking you were going to put this one in,
Yeah,
and
I
I
totally
saw Marx
forgot.
and figured it was Lukather. So
I totally forgot all about it.
okay.
Yeah, no, seriously, if I had remembered, I would have put it on there. Running with the Night from Lionel Richie. Now, I'm going to include the right version of it because the radio version doesn't have Lukather's solo.
Cuts it out, man.
Cuts it out. The full version has
ridiculous.
Lukather going off in the middle and at the end of the song. And for a Lionel Richie song, it's ridiculous. I mean,
It is, man.
you don't expect Lionel Richie to have that kind of guitar playing on his songs, but he does. And then the third one is a song from Christopher Cross called "All Right."
Yes,
and that's Steve Lukather as well.
Awesome. I didn't know that.
It's a short one, but it's chock full of goodness. So
Christopher Cross is really underrated as a guitar player himself.
He really is.
I just a quick plug for Rick Beato, one of my favorite YouTubers, probably my favorite YouTuber out of anybody. His music channel just had a recent interview with Christopher Cross, going through his music and
really?
talking
Is
about
it
his
recent?
guitar history. Yeah, just within the last month or so.
Oh wow!
And he talks about how he got in the music business, that first album, how it just exploded,
Yeah.
And some of the other people over the years when he collaborated with like Michael McDonald and some other people. So I would recommend going out and watching that, or just subscribe to Rick's channel, because there's tons of stuff in there even on some of the artists that we've covered. He did an interview with Nuno Betancourt, which we will eventually get to, and some other more recent interviews, one with the bassist from Stone Temple Pilots. So just an awesome channel. Go out and subscribe.
Would that be Duff McKagan?
No.
Stone Temple Pilots? Oh no, that's Slash. Never mind.
Yeah, you're thinking.
I'm thinking of what's the band they did together?
Velvet
Revolver.
Velvet Revolver.
Yeah,
No.
Revolver. Yeah. It's weird that he did a show for Christopher Cross. How random. That's funny.
Well, but that's the thing too. That's what made it great to me, because I was like blown away by just listening to him.
Oh yeah.
And how he got into the business to begin with was really cool. But,
yeah, he almost died during COVID. He was sick for like months.
Wow. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was like near death. So it's good that he's back out there again.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you have Spotify Premium, which is what we recommend, stay tuned, because you're going to hear all three of those bonus songs in their entirety. Free Spotify users are going to get 30 seconds of the song, and then you're going to curse because you're going to want to hear them all. But outside of Spotify, you're not hearing anything but our voices and background music. So we invite you to visit the Song Whip links in our show notes, and that'll connect you with the songs in your favorite music app. If you want to support us and get your name in the show notes, click over to patreon.com/The Retro Network, which is our home base. Or you can find us on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, if you prefer, at Greatest Lists. We're also on YouTube at Greatest Lists, or on our website, greatestlistpodcast.com. Jason will be back in our next episode for our number 20 song.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to think of what it is. Oh, I know what it is. Yes.
We're going to church.
Yes. Oh, man, I can't wait for this one. Thanks for listening to The Greatest Lists, and we look forward to continuing our countdown next episode.
You've been listening to The Greatest Lists.